Welcome to CFO Office Hours, where we'll democratize and demystify the MBA application process real time. If you like this content, hit share and make sure to subscribe.
Hey, it's Kev here. Some of you guys might know me as the CFO, Chief Fitness Officer. Welcome. So why are we here? What are we talking about today, Kevin? You're not in the gym. You're not training anybody right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in the process of going back to business school. Business school? What? Chief Fitness Officer going to business school? What are you talking about? Does that even make sense? It does, and I'll explain that story to you. But the reason why we're really here is I want to be able to pull the curtain back on the process of what it looks like real time trying to go back to business school. Whether that be studying for the GMAT, prepping, talking to admissions officers, getting your resume together, writing essays, that whole process as I'm going through it. For even right now, I'm about a year and a half into that process. I just want to peel back that curtain because I know for me, it was a very mystified process and I want to demystify that for you all. So hopefully you guys find some value in this, and I'll also explain why I'm deciding to do that and why I think this would add value to somebody in their career, whether they want something as in another job on the other side of the MBA, or like me, you want to pursue your own enterprise and grow and scale that. So, this is kind of just a way for me to share that with you all and really give this, a free game, if you will. I'll give you a little bit about my backstory just so you can kind of understand why I think this makes sense. And this will help you put your story together as you're preparing or thinking about this whole process and if that even makes sense for you. So I started CFO about a year ago, March 2019. CFO was kind of merging my passions between business and fitness. Grew up playing soccer my whole life, all-star athlete, Olympic development program. And then also I love business, entrepreneurship, finance. I worked in tech and startups, worked in major corporations, Fortune 500 companies as a financial analyst. I can run some numbers. And so just merging those two things together is how I came up with CFO. And ultimately, I want to be able to help people live a healthy, happy life without missing out on life. Came up with CFO, started training people, got up to about 20 clients. I was like, this is good. I enjoy it. It's like my passion, but I'm a business person at the same time. Like, I can't scale this. So in my mind, it's like, okay, well, how can I quote unquote pivot slightly and grow and scale this? But when stick with me here. So when people talk about, how are you uniquely qualified and positioned to solve problems, they want to see, a track record of success. Okay, when people talk fitness, does your name come up? When you're talking about running a business or growing it, do you have experience doing that? Can you pull a budget together? Do you know how to talk to venture capitalists? Do you know how to build software or whatever it may be? So when I thought about all those things needed to grow and scale a business while also being able to help the most people live a healthy, happy life, that's why business school essentially made the most sense for me. So that's kind of why I got to this. And on the second thing that I want to touch on is just falling in love with the process. So, and what I mean by that is it's been about a year and a half long journey so far into my application to B school. And that pretty much has been centered mostly around the GMAT. And the GMAT is a monster. And I decided I'm gonna look that monster in its eye. I'm not gonna be played. I'm not gonna be played. I'm not gonna be played. You can't play me. So that being said, there's been so many different resources and tools that I've used to try to conquer this, and I'm really starting to hit my stride. And some of these resources are, I did Manhattan Prep, so that's a prep course. When I did that, it was too advanced for where I was, I guess, mentally at the time. Yeah, okay, I studied finance in college, but I've been using Excel for the past, 6-7 years, and Excel does everything. Just paid about like $1,200, I think, to pay for that course, and it didn't really help me. And then, so I took the test, and I was like, didn't do too well. I was like, okay, how am I gonna, I gotta get around this. And even at that time when I took the test, I wasn't as firmly solid as what I wanted on the back side of my MBA. And so what I mean by that is, if you're gonna sit down and dedicate, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months to study for a test that's hard, like the GMAT or the GRE or the LSAT or whatever test it may be, you wanna know what you're doing on the back side, because that's what's gonna give you that motivation, that bit to have, if you have the clear vision on what's on the other side of that. And so I didn't really have that figured out at the time. Talking to a lot of friends who are in the circle and kind of trying to do the same thing. It's, you see people going back to B school and they say, okay, well, you don't want to just do it just because somebody else is doing it. And I didn't have that figured out. So that's one thing I would definitely say that you need to make sure that you figure out in that time. We really found a program that is really helping and guide me through this whole process. And it's really, when I say guide me through the whole GMAT studying process, it's taking me step by step and teaching me all of the different skills that you learn back in high school and early college. And it's called Target Test Prep, TTP. It's been a great program. I mean, you'll do diagnostic tests, they'll map out a plan for you. And they actually just recently released a verbal portion of the test. So for those who don't know, I won't go too deep into the specificities of the test. But there's a quant, there's a verbal section, and there's an integrated reasoning, and there's an essay. And TTP is known specifically for the quant. And to get into a good B school, they all say, like, you gotta have a good quant score and blah, 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 blah. So you wanna make sure you have that down. And TTP's been a great resource for that. And so just, falling in love with that process and just the day after day, the repetition, the consistency, and the same consistency that I'm talking about now with studying for the GMAT is the same consistency that I would preach to my clients when it comes to reaching your fitness goals. I think the last thing I want to touch on before, cutting this episode off is just adversity. As you're going through anything, you're gonna face adversity. Anything that's worthwhile, you're gonna have some obstacles that you're gonna have to overcome. With Corona going on, there's so many excuses that we could all come up with in order to not achieve and go after what we want. But they say excuses are tools of incompetent use to build monuments of nothingness. So that being said, you just really gotta push it all to the side and keep pushing. Specifically for me, in the past week, just to kind of really open up to you guys is, I lost my uncle, who's, essentially a brother to my dad. And, it's been real tough. I was also laid off within that same week. Also, really being a part of the statistic of, about 32 million other Americans who have lost their jobs. And, for most people, they'd be kind of, shaken or bothered or, really unrooted with all these things that are kind of happening in my life right now. But, one thing that, I've just found very comforting is just knowing that, my faith, just having faith, having a strong support system, people who are rooting for you, people who will back you up, people who you can count on, having those accountability partners. It's so crucial when you're going through something like this, and that's gonna take so long in order to get done, because you have to continue to make progress every single day. So whenever you guys fight adversity or you come up against adversity, don't turn back, don't stop. Because if you stop, you're just gonna stay in the adversity. Go through it and get on the other side of it. If you're already hurting, get the reward from it, in the words of E.T. So that's the first episode. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know in the comments section or DM me your thoughts. If there's any other topics that you want me to touch on when it comes to the B school journey or whatever, let me know and I'll be back with more. Thank you guys. Take care.